Weird sciencey facts that boggle my mind. Anybody ever calls you crabby, you just might want to take it as a compliment. Because it would seem like being crabby is what peak performance looks like, evolutionarily speaking. Evolution is wild, and over the billions of years that this world's been spinning, countless species of plants and animals and insects have evolved into all kinds of crazy different things. Generally, through natural selection, things evolve unique traits to best suit the environments they live in. Usually, when species share a similar trait, it's because they evolved them together with a common ancestor, and those species diverged after that. For example, the common ancestor of primates today evolved opposable thumbs and the ability to walk upright. And then from there, the evolutionary chain diverged and different species evolved differently, like humans and chimpanzees and gorillas. Though all of these species ended up being very different, we all retained some common traits from that similar ancestor. Occasionally, though, things independently evolve similar traits. Birds and bats, for example, do not share a common flying ancestor. They both evolved wings and the ability to fly in a very similar manner independently. That is called convergent evolution, where two separate species evolve similar traits, and it's a lot more rare, but it happens. Where normally convergent evolution is the exception, when it comes to crustaceans, it seems to be the rule, and all roads lead to Mr. Krabs. In fact, crab-like crustaceans have evolved a minimum of at least 5 times throughout history. In fact, it happens so often that scientists have named it carcinization. You know, the zodiac crab is cancer. Cancer, carcinization. Crustaceans come in various shapes and sizes and have throughout history. Things like lobsters, shrimp, and krill. But many of these crustaceans, usually with cylindrical bodies and long tails, have eventually evolved into something that's flat and round with long legs and pincers or claws. Long, large tail or abdomen shrinks down really small and gets tucked up underneath its body. In fact, it happens so often that even things that you think are crabs aren't actually crabs. One of people's favorite crabs, the king crab, isn't a crab at all. It's one of many species that is considered a false crab, and it's just evolved to look like a crab. The difference is the true crabs are decapods. They've got 4 pairs of legs and 2 pincers. So deca, 10, they've got 10 extremities. False crabs, like the king crab or the hermit crab, have 3 pairs of legs, and they can still have the arms and the pincers, but then they've got some like paw extremities, these like just useless things that sort of look like legs, but they don't do anything. But why does it seem like the power of creation is for a crustacean? There must be some reason that the most realistic mutant is a mirelurk, and according to scientists, the answer is usually, when things develop really similar, convergent evolutionary traits, there's a pretty obvious environmental reason as to why. In marine life, for example, be it fish or sharks or mammals, they've all developed really similar fin layouts. Well, as it turns out, fins seem to be one of the most efficient ways to navigate through the water. But crab-looking things evolved to be crab-looking things in all kinds of environments that don't have any obvious similarities. Some crabs live on the floors of cold Arctic oceans. Some crabby-looking things live in marshes and shallows and on the beach. Some crabs live in the desert, some crabs live in the mountains. The main thing that all of these environments have in common is that none of them really have all that much in common. Some scientists theorize that the shape of the crab has less to do with its environment and more to do with what's going on inside. Crustaceans are like the AR platform of the animal kingdom. They're modular. All of their parts, in an evolutionary sense, are pretty much plug and play with other species of crustaceans. Mother Nature, through evolution, can put together crustaceans, take them apart, and put them back together in a different format, kind of like a Lego set. And this theory kind of makes sense because crabs don't usually stay crabs forever either. In fact, despite crustaceans having independently evolved into crab-looking things like 5 times, they've de-evolved or gone through decarcinization from crab-looking like things to something else at least 7 times. And with that, this theory makes a lot of sense. Lobsters, for example, are really well suited for the environments that they live in. Big, powerful tails work great for crushing prey, and when they need to evade a predator, they can reverse faster than Tow Mater doing the Cupid Shuffle. But that is only effective in their environments, and if their environment changes, they need to change. Now remember how I said evolutionarily speaking, crustaceans have all pretty much the same or really similar parts that are all plug and play. It could just be that a crab is the quickest and most efficient shape a crustacean can evolve into that can store all of those parts while effectively surviving in pretty much any environment. And then this newly evolved crab creature just needs to hang out in its new environment and wait for evolution to figure out what the best way to rearrange its parts are again. We're actually seeing this in real time with some crabs like the frog crab, which is a true decapod crab that has evolved to look less like a crab than most crabs. And the fact that Sebastian might just be some land-dwelling crustaceans under the sea sit-in while he tries to figure out if life is truly better down where it's wetter. Squeezed all my crab references in.
Aw, but what about Zoidberg?
Well, that is pretty mind-boggling.